This weekend in Milwaukee, there were 30 shootings. School shootings have increased as well. Democrats blame easy access to guns. What do you believe is the solution to this problem?
Yeah, as to those of you listening, this is again an opportunity for all of you, the American people, those of you who want to really lead and get involved, to recognize that when you start looking at the world as a system, you yourselves can start to answer this question. Okay. About, I think 6 months ago, we did a whole 4-hour workshop on gun violence. You may remember, Chris, and we really did this deep systems analysis. So the left wing, the Democrats, say, oh, gun violence is because access to guns, right? And they want to destroy the Second Amendment. On the other hand, the right-wing Republicans say, no, I want my guns. This is being caused by these kids are watching too many video games or they're on drugs, okay? And so you have this issue. And the reality is both wings of the establishment will then send out emails to raise money off of that, okay? Rand Paul will send out email, oh, they want to take away our guns, right? It has to do with people on antidepressants or whatever, right? And he'll get cha-ching money because they split the working people in two. The Democrats send money saying, oh my God, these right-wing Republicans, want to kill all of us. Give me money. So you see, it's a money-raising exercise. They do not want to address the real issue of gun violence. They don't. Now, if you really go read some of the wonderful research papers done on this and you connect the dots, the real reason for gun violence is income inequality, period. No one wants to talk about that because neither wing of the establishment wants to address income inequality. So Democrats will talk about it, but they don't want to solve it. The Republicans may talk about it. Oh my God, we need innovation. We need entrepreneurs. We need market economy, but they don't create market economies. They create monopolies. So both wings of the establishment do not want to address income inequality. And enough research has been done to show that if you go look at nearly 95% of these school shooters, particularly the kids, they came from neighborhoods where they had massive income inequality. So there would be a city here and another city here, wealthy city, poor city, and these kids would experience this income inequality. And over time, it builds up tremendous amounts of rage over time. There was a very interesting clinical study done, interesting enough, looking at violence on airplanes, okay? And they found that a significant number of those violent events took place of where a guy in economy class would walk into first class and back, okay? And he said, wow, they have it really good over there, and I'm living like in a all over here. The point is when people observedly see these market differences, it starts affecting a certain percentage of the population. It may not affect everyone. You're creating a percentage of the population which becomes very sensitized to this. So if you look at the last shooting in Uvalde, that kid was working at a Wendy's. He wasn't just some nobody, right? He was trying to hold a job, and over time, this rage builds in people. Now, that rage may then lead to people taking drugs or whatever, right? But the core of it is income inequality. And that's what we need. So if we really want to solve gun violence, we don't need to get rid of the Second Amendment, right? And it's really not about drugs or video games. It's income inequality. And no one wants to address this because it'll expose the fact that both wings of the establishment are part of the swarm. They don't want to help everyday working people. They're fine with having a pandemic where 600 billionaires increase their wealth by 2.3 trillion. This is a fundamental systems issue, right? So how do we resolve that? There's only one way. We have to build a bottoms-up movement. The elites aren't going to give us anything. So if you look at what I said between 1900 and 1970, as the economy grew, everyone's wages grew. Between 1970 till today, as the economy grew, the first and second income quartiles, their wages have shrunk. $47 trillion got transferred. That is a reason for gun violence, income inequality, period. Let's go solve that systems issue, or we just divide people along left and right all day long, which is what they want.
Excellent answer. It's very interesting. So you're saying you're not going to become president and wave a magic wand and magically gun violence. We actually need to be active and proactive in changing our communities bottoms up. That's interesting.
And the reality is people have to recognize, everyone listening, to all the American people, we're at a very critical point. Do you want to be bullshitted to and hear sound bites and see who will bullshit you better? Because many of these clowns up there literally are watching me every day, and they literally take my sound bites because they know I stand for the truth, and I walk the walk, and I'm one of us. I'm one of you. So they literally they know right now, Chris, they have all the data of all 330 million Americans. They know people are pretty pissed off, and they hate both wings of the establishment. And they know the movement for truth, freedom, and health in our campaign is grabbing people for wildfire. So what they're doing is first making me invisible on their media, media and amplifying the fake heroes by stealing my messages. And that's what's going on right now. And so the issue is, do you, as a person watching this, share this with all your friends? Do you want to continue to be bamboozled by these fools who know nothing about your suffering? I know about your suffering because I've had to fight injustice all my life since a 4-year-old kid, fighting the caste system, making sure that if I created something, people didn't steal it, making sure that food service workers got a fair wage while I was at MIT, making sure any person could go to an institution like that, poor kids, poor white kids, black kids, etc. I've been fighting all my life because I'm one of you. So these people are not one of us. So that's what we need to recognize. So they will never take this systems approach because they actually want people to, they like gun violence. They don't want to solve gun violence. This is why we need a systems overhaul, because things are not going to get better. We cannot be voting for the lesser of two evils. For the first time in American history in a long time, you have someone like me, one of us, trained engineer, trained scientist, mowed lawn, played baseball, came bottoms up, one of you. And so the real choice is, why is it that I had to leave the Republican Party and run as independent? And obviously, a guy of my skin tone should have been embraced by the Democrats, but neither of these parties serve any of us anymore. So it's time for us to build a bottoms-up movement. And that's what Shiva for President's about. It's about us. It's about you and me uniting bottoms up and letting go of these idiots. And many of you know, we have this movement called Truth, Freedom, Health. You can go to truthfreedomhealth.com and check it out. We need to build a bottoms-up movement. We need to shatter the swarm. The swarm are all those people on the debate stage, Republican and Democrat, black, brown, red, white, color. It doesn't matter. They're a multi-racial, global, decentralized bunch of assholes that do not give a fuck about you. What can you do? Well, go to Shiva for President. Many of you work hard, so we made it easy. Go get a bumper sticker. Get this bumper sticker, put it on the back windshield of your car. Why? 100,000 people will see that. That will be defiance. I no longer believe in your lesser of two evils. I'm supporting a guy who's one of us. If you're a little more adventurous, go on to Shiva for President, download one of these flyers, hand them to your neighbors. It's in the download section. If you want to donate, great, but I cannot take your money without giving something back. When you donate to me, I give you books, I give you knowledge, I give you courses so you can become a truth, freedom, and health warrior. This is about us, and it is truly us versus them. And they do not want you living long and prosperous. I do. So anyway, everyone, thank you. ShivaForPresident.com, Truth, Freedom, Health to all of you. And I want to thank our host, Chris Bradley, today. By the way, we need to get on the ballot in every state. Go to ShivaForPresident.com, volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. This is our time. It is us versus them, and we must shatter the swarm. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone. Be well, be the light.